Hello everyone, welcome to the Clarity 16.3.0 Features Portability Training. My name is Bill Yee, and today we're going to cover the new business rule improvements for Clarity 16.3.0. So what's new in the area of business rules? So what we've done, we added the ability to grant and revoke rights via business rules. This is specifically instance rights. Now this is a customer innovation idea winner that customers voted up. And what it does is that, say, for example, you have a resource attribute, and it could be single value or multi-value. And we'll be able to grant instance rights based on updates to that resource attribute. So say if we have a resource attribute called project sponsors, and in that value, we have a person called Cheryl Amos, and you change the value from Cheryl Amos to say Paul Burns. So what we'll do is that the person will revoke the rights from the previous person, which was Cheryl Amos, and then grant rights to the new person, Paul Burks. So we'll go into more detail related to that. But yeah, this could be single value or multi-value. And these are instance rights. Now, these could be project instance rights or sub-object instance rights that you can see on the master object. Like, say, for example, task view management, like say project task management, or let's say idea, risk, issues, and changes create. Those type of sub-object rights that are available via the master object. And here are the blueprints and master objects available on. It's projects, ideas, and custom investments. So all the investments we support in the modern UX, objectives, custom master objects, and resources. So why is this enhancement important? So as I mentioned, this is a customer innovation idea winner. And some of the use cases that we've heard from customers is that they want to assign a project auto rights to another user as a secondary or backup to assist the primary project manager in case they're away on holiday or on vacation. Other use cases that, for onboarding new resources, they could automate the capability of adding or provisioning rights to the new user, or just in case there's been retirement or resources have quit, you can add automation of removal rights for those users as well. And the way customers do this today is via custom gel scripts that try to automate this rights provisioning. So this will kind of eliminate or minimize the need for those custom gel scripts to do provisioning of these rights, and also to reduce the need of a technical resource to help maintain them. And also, this new capability helps kind of provide an easier and better way from an upgrade perspective, since we'll maintain these support of these over upgrades as well. So let's give a demonstration of the business rules improvements so you can see them in action. Hello, I'm going to give a demonstration of our new business rule improvements for Clarity 16.3.0. So I'm giving this demonstration of our new way of ability to configure a business rule to grant and revoke Clarity rights. So first I'm going to cover the administration side, how you configure these rights and things you need to know. And then I'll show you how it works from the end user side. So first I'm going to be I'm using blueprints for idea blueprints and projects for this demo. So I've created some rules ahead of time. So let's go inside this idea blueprint. And I've created a rule called GM approval rights. And it's going to grant approval rights and view financials for the GM to be assigned on a particular resource attribute. So let me go edit it so it'll be easier to view. So I'm going to drill down into this rule. So one thing to note for this new ability to grant and revoke rights, we created a new rule type called security update. So what it'll do is that in this rule, we need to configure a target resource attribute. Here is I have a custom resource attribute called GM approval. This can also be a stock resource lookup as well. either on the lookup definition, it could be the object could be resource or user, and then it'll show up in the configuration. This ability only works where the target object is a master object. It's available on investments, project ideas, custom investment types, custom master objects, the resource object, and also to objective as well. Those are the master objects that's available on. So once you have this set up for a resource attribute, the way it works is that um, it will revoke the rights from the previous user and then add the rights to the new resource. So for example, this is the action here, transfer rights from the previous to the new resource. So once you change the value, say from user A to user B, it will revoke it from user A since it's the previous one, and then add it to the new user. So here you can add additional rights to these as well. You can add up to, say, for example, 20 rights per action. So here you can go ahead, and these are the same rights that you have under Classic. If you go to instance rights, say idea, plus we have the ability to do auto rights. So we have some auto rights inside here, the initiator and idea manager. So that's an addition. We will show you at one of the use case under project where that's beneficial. And then I mentioned you can do 20 rights per action. So you can configure additional actions, one being grant rights to a new user and revoke rights to the previous user. So what's the difference between these actions and this action here? So the transfer rights from previous resource is beneficial if the previous resource and when you're having a new resource, you're granting and removing the same set of rights. So this is probably the best action to use. But in these, for example, the grant rights, you may be revoking 4 rights, but granting, say, 5 rights, for example. So if you need to do like a different set of rights for the granting and revoking, use these different actions. Otherwise, you can use the transfer rights from previous new resource. Now, note you see these are kind of grayed out. The transfer rights from previous to new resource is mutually exclusive with these 2 rights, because we don't want the granting and revoking happening in one action, and then you're doing more granting, or maybe you're granting or revoking those same rights in another action. So that's why these are mutually exclusive. There's also limitations on, say, this target resource attribute, this GM approval, for example. I'm using it for this particular rule. Now, if you're trying to configure another rule, another security update rule on this blueprint, you will not be able to use this target resource attribute. So what we don't want customers to do or users is to have them, granting revoking rights on one area, and then granting revoking rights in another rule on the same blueprint. You can have some circular dependency issues there. So that's why you can only define for a particular target resource attribute that you pick, can be only used on one rule per blueprint. And also, too, there's an important note here is that the attribute you use on the end user side will disable bulk editing, things like, select bulk editing, copy and paste, the fill handles for that attribute. And we're doing it for 2 reasons. One being security in areas, just for the sake, for one, this functionality is not a replacement from kind of the administration of and bulk adding of rights for users. We feel that still should be done by an administrator, and you want to, and we don't want to be, doing, massive bulk updates of rights from the end user side for your end users to do. In addition, we do it from a security perspective. I think we're adding, removing rights, and we're, based on that, you're exposing certain areas, and we want to be cognizant of that. It's not a area we want to have as well. But also, too, if they do a copy and paste and maybe eliminate and remove access from a lot of users on the grid, maybe with a mistake with a copy and paste, it can cause a lot of impact. So we're being kind of careful with that. So whatever attribute you choose here, you have to be judicious because the bulk editing will be disabled on the end user side. So with that, let's go in and let me go back. Let's see what we've configured on the project blueprint. Now we go into rules. Let me click edit here. And here is one where we're provisioning rights for a backup project manager. Now this is a use case, we hear a lot from different customers and where, say, the primary project manager, they may be on leave, going on vacation, and they want to have a backup project manager with the same rights to manage that project while, say, the primary project manager is away. So here is a one in where I'm using the another custom resource attribute called backup managers, and I'm using the other uh, actions called grant uh, rights to the new resource and revoke rights from the previous. I'm using the same set of rights for each one, but here I'm using the project manager auto right. So whatever fields values you added to the project manager, they'll have the same project manager auto rights as the one that, say, the value you enter inside the manager field on the project, and project task management. And the same also too, if you remove them from that project manager field, we'll also revoke those same rights as well. So with that, let's see how this works on the end user side. So first, let's cover the idea. Here, I've added the field called GM approval. And what I've done also too, I opened up another tab into Classic, and these are the users I'm going to use for this particular demo. So if we go into Luke Bernard and go to instance rights, these are all the rights he has. So it's not many at all. So if we go into idea, and let's add Luke Bernard here. So with this one, it was blank already, so there's nothing to revoke. So the operation will not fail. It will just grant rights to Luke. So if I go back into Classic and just do a filter, see he has the idea approve and the idea view financial, for example, in this one here. So if I go back to here, and if we go back and return, let's go to, say, Nick Evans, and we'll check his rights. He only has these set of rights here as well. So let's go ahead and change uh, Luke Bernard to Nick Evans. So I come back here, Nick, we come here, come back to Classic and do a filter. Now he gets the view financial, and then the idea approved. We can drill down a little further and see it's on able payment digital experience. We can do a return here. Let's see what happens to Luke Bernard. Did we revoke his rights? Come back on the instance, see if we revoke the rights for Luke. So that's how it works, at least on end user side. With the ideas, let's show how it works on the project. So say, for example, we'll take here's the backup managers. So what other ones? We have Ives and Carolyn Murphy. So let's add that to the backup managers. So let's take Blair Ives, and then we're going to have Carolyn Murphy. So these could be a single value, and this one's a multi-value. So once we come back in here, we have Blair with the instance rights. You have the project manager auto rights, task management that we had configured before. And we come back to Blair Ives. And then Blair has, these rights as well. Now, let's say, for example, I come into this one and I remove Blair. It should remove it from Blair, but not from Carolyn. So let's come back uh, to Blair. We'll do a filter. It removes it from Blair. And let's check to see if Carolyn still has the rights on her side. It still has it on her. And if I come back and remove Carolyn as well here and do a filter, it removes the rights from Carolyn. So that concludes my demonstration of the new business improvements for 16.3.0. Thank you. This concludes our presentation and demonstration of the business rule enhancements for 16.3.0. Thank you.